In the first part of our Outdoors Masterclass in Project Zomboid, we've covered essential skills such as fishing and foraging. And on today's episode, we're gonna cover the remaining two essential skills of every outdoor survivalist. Those skills are trapping and hunting. So if you want to take advantage of the wilderness, make sure to watch till the end. But before we actually jump into the tutorial, those of you that have seen the previous episodes knew how my base looked like, but there was an update to the game, and I woke up to this. Most of my supplies are gone, my fridge is gone, my furniture is lost, and I have an unwanted guest in my living room. So yeah, I guess that's why they call it an unstable version of the game. So just to be fair with all of you, I did use debug mode to recover some of the items which I found earlier for the purpose of this tutorial. If you're interested in how debug mode works, let me know. I'm happy to make a separate video on that topic specifically. But yeah, let's just focus on trapping. So the game defines trapping as a survivalist skill which allows the player to use traps to catch animals, which can then later on be butchered and used as food. And since Build 42 introduced, kind of animal husbandry, you can also catch animals to pretty much just use them as your farm animals. Now, traps can be either found or they also can be crafted. In this tutorial, I want to focus on the entire process. So from crafting the traps to the actual usage of the traps. Here you can see me just chopping wood, as wood is one of the primary resources required to build most of the traps. In the tutorial, we will be using 4 different types of traps, which are aimed at capturing different types of animals. I've had the snare trap prepared earlier, and here you can see me crafting 3 additional traps. Now there are 3 ways to unlock the possibility of crafting your own traps. One is obviously just finding the specific magazines, which will teach your character the recipes for a particular trap. The other 2 being you either pick the hunter trait when you create your character, or you pick the park ranger occupation, which will also allow you to build traps instantly. Now that we got the traps crafted, let's talk about trap placement. Now the first important mechanic you need to understand is that traps will not catch anything if there is any player within 75 tiles of them. So if you're playing solo, it's much easier to manage. If you're playing multiplayer, you need to take that into consideration. Now this is 10 tiles, what I'm showing right now. So 75 tiles is actually quite a decent distance. I'm gonna place my traps much further as I don't want to accidentally get too close when I'm gonna work on my farm. I liked this spot, so this is where I'm gonna place all 4 of my traps. Each one with different types of bait, so I will be able to hopefully capture different types of wild animals. Now the trap types determine what kind of animals you can catch with those traps, and the second really important aspect of trapping is knowing what type of bait to use in order to catch a specific animal, and let's look into this now. So what you can see now is the specific animal and the best bait to use. So obviously if you want to catch a rabbit, you should go for carrots. If you want to catch a mouse, well obviously you go for cheese, etc. So how do traps work? Well, they tick or kind of check the status every hour in game, and the test determines if A, the animal was caught, was the bait lost, and was the trap destroyed? Yes, the traps can be destroyed. That means it's actually important to check traps frequently. That's why it also makes sense not to place them too far away from your base, your farm, or whatever your character is currently doing. So a few in-game hours passed and I decided to check my traps for the first time and see if I was lucky to catch something. And as you can see, guys, the only thing that I found was actually missing bait in the snare trap, so I added another bait and decided to come and check this again later. And the reason that happened was that the animals that I specifically wanted to catch have predefined time windows in which they actually can be caught, and I did not take that into consideration. Coming back for the second time later on, you can actually hear the traps being activated, so I knew that I managed to catch something. How to see that? Well, basically you just right click on the given trap, then you click check trap, and if there is anything inside of that trap, it will either land in your inventory, or if it's a farm animal like a rabbit, it's gonna, like be in your hands. I did reset all of my traps to make one more test, and while we wait for the traps to actually trigger, let's talk about what are the key things that determine your effectiveness. So as you can see by the formula, there are several different things that are factored into your success chance, but I think the most important thing you need to remember is that your skill level and your bait type will affect your chances of catching an animal. So always take that into consideration. And now let's go check those traps for the third time. So 2 out of 4 actually triggered and caught an animal. I got another dead bird and another rabbit. Got already 2, which I can probably start thinking about building a small rabbit farm for myself. So this is basically trapping, really easy, really efficient, sustainable. If you guys have any questions, or maybe you have some best practices, let us all know in the comments. And lastly, to close out our outdoors masterclass, we're gonna talk about the brand new mechanic that was introduced with build 42. Hunting. Or tracking. Tracking is a skill that affects the player's ability to identify and locate wild animals such as deer or rabbits. That is the theory. Now, I was personally really excited to really try wild animals and hunting, as I thought this is going to add another layer to the gameplay and open up the world a little bit, and kind of give you some reasons to venture into the forests. So yeah, I really actively tried to hunt. And the way it's supposed to work in game is that the animals that you can hunt will have predefined paths in which they will be moving across. So whenever you find a group of animals, it's likely that even if they get spooked or run away, there is a high chance they will return to the same spot. And I tried it multiple times, both with rabbits and with deer. And yeah, it does seem that this is actually how it works. Finding the animals is not all that hard. You use a skill which is like a sub-skill of foraging, where you simply select animal tracks and you venture into the areas where these animals could potentially be, and you just look for them until you find tracks or feces or any kind of, animal activity. So basically finding animals is not such a big problem. But guys, actually hunting them, now that is a completely different story. Now, I've even gotten to a point when I used debug mode and increased my aiming skill to 10, so I kind of maxed it out, and I was still not able to effectively shoot a single animal. Maybe that's me. Maybe, maybe that's not something I am physically capable of doing. So if any one of you have experiences with hunting, a successful hunt, I'm dying to hear your feedback, but for me, it was just a disaster. I spent like a week using God mode, invisibility, and different things just to score a kill on those deers, and I couldn't, so I just eventually gave up. But hey, there is a different method you can use, a very effective method of hunting, which I'm gonna show you now. Yep. Roadkill. Roadkill was the only effective method of hunting deer that I have tested out in build 42 and was actually happy with the outcomes. And obviously this is a brand new game mechanic that was introduced with the latest build, and it's probably gonna receive a massive overhaul as we go. I'm really hoping for one, as I think this is going to be a super cool part of the game, but we need to make it work. So I will probably be doing some sort of a separate tutorial on hunting when it actually gets fixed. So that concludes our outdoors part of the masterclass. I hope you found it, useful and interesting. Please share your tips on how to hunt animals. I'm dying for some feedback. If you like this video, let me know by leaving a comment or leaving a like. But for now, that's all I've got for you today, guys. I'm Gertrix. Cheers.